Well, Trizdon Reynolds here with recently published author Terry Powers. Terry, how are you today?
Not bad. How are you doing today, Trizdon?
Doing pretty good. So I said recently published. I actually know you're recently being sold your new book, Death Waltz, at Barnes & Noble. Are you recently published, or has the book been out a while?
The book was originally published at the very end of December in 2016. It's gotten wider publish and wider acclamation throughout 2017.
Very nice. So I said you can pick the book up again. It's called The Death Waltz at Barnes & Noble. What was the process like to get your book at a nationwide store like Barnes & Noble?
Well, it's kind of funny. I have a small publishing company that I go through. Most writers that are out there, they find it extremely difficult to get a novel published because of the entire process. And so what I decided I wanted to do was stick with a small publishing company. I always believe in small businessmen and such, and this was a local publishing company. And I actually I lucked into it. I had written the book for myself, and I needed to do this. I had a lot of things on my mind, in my heart, that I wanted to write about, and so I wrote the book for me, and of course my wife was always wondering, what's Terry typing away at over there. I took the book to her to read it when I was done, and afterwards she came to me and she said, "You have to do something with this." And I printed a few different copies, and I took it to a couple different friends and family members and gave it to them to look at. And again, they also said, "You need to do something with this." And so I kind of half-heartedly looked into publishing, and what I did do was, just in speaking with some of my customers, I'm a letter carrier in Maine, and just in talking with some of them, they wanted to also take a look at the manuscript. So I did that. I gave that to them, and what I didn't realize is that they were secretly passing it around to each other. And
Nice.
One day, one of my customers came to the door and handed me a piece of paper, and she said, "Terry, you should contact this person." And me, I had no idea who this person was, and she said, "This is a woman that I know. She's a publisher, and she wants to talk to you about your book." And I suddenly felt like the luckiest, most loved person in the world, because here I am stumbling into a publishing contract for my very first book. Getting it to someplace like Barnes & Noble does take quite a bit of work. You have to get the name out there and the concept of the book. And it's been quite a process. It wasn't something that's easy, but I'm blessed. I'm absolutely lucky, and I am absolutely blessed.
Nice. So tell us a little bit about the book itself, The Death Waltz. It's 8 stories. Is that correct?
Yes. What it is it's 8 connected stories of 8 men who are each dealing with death or their own mortality in some way. The stories are based on people that I have known in my life, and what I tried to do was I tried to write the stories from the men's perspective. I mean, I find that quite often men don't talk about those things: the anger, the pain, the fear that happens when we're faced with our own mortality, or when we're faced with a death in our life. And I wanted to kind of talk about those things in an honest approach, but not heavy-handed. And having the experience of having these people that I have known, and then my own experiences, I felt that I could, well, not so much that I could, but that I should write something down.
Very nice.
So that's really what it's about. It's about those things that men don't talk about.
Very cool. And I can't wait to read it myself. Let's see. So there's already a follow-up in the works. Is that correct?
There is. I find that sometimes when you open yourself up and you get those creative juices going, you find that you're suddenly have these different ideas and such. The follow-up is called The Nothing Man, and basically what it is, the concept is that what if any moment could be your last moment? If you found out that today could be your last day on Earth, what would you change? What kind of things would you do differently? How would you take a look at the things, the mundane things that we do every single day? What would you do different? And I wanted to kind of explore that, and that's what I'm doing with the follow-up novel.
Very interesting concept. That's pretty great.
Thank you.
Well, let me ask you this. We've mentioned Barnes & Noble is a great place to pick up the Death Waltz. Of course, there's probably a Barnes & Noble throwing distance of, anywhere you could watch this video. Where else, if somebody doesn't happen to have a close by Barnes & Noble, where would you recommend picking up the book and purchasing that?
Well, actually, it's anywhere books are sold. I'm very lucky in that you can get this book anywhere in the world. You can get it at BarnesandNoble.com. You can get it at Amazon.com, Bryson Taylor Publishing.com. Pretty much anywhere.
Very nice. And you've got a website if folks want to check you out and visualize a little bit of what we've talked about today.
Yes, it's www.authorterrypowers.com or thedeathwaltz.com.
All right.
And there's also links there to a Facebook page as well, if you'd like to check that out.
Okay. Well, there you go. So you can pick the book up at Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, and, of course, go to authorterrypowers.com to check him out, or thedeathwaltz.com as well. Terry, it's been an absolute pleasure, and we appreciate your time today.
And I appreciate yours. Thank you so much. I wish everybody happy holidays.